All right, AJ, it's the main event, but this main event is we got a question sponsored by our boy Syke. He brought us back again for another one. And this is a big question right here. So shout out to you, Syke, because he noted, do you think Cody Garbrandt can stay cool, calm, and collected and not get into a firefight with Rob Font? And that's really the golden question right there, is it not, AJ? So let me pull this one down. Cody Garbrandt is known for the brawls. He's known for seeing red. There's the meme all over the internet where he gets tagged and the screen goes red and he just starts going for violence, going for blood. And that's part of what made him so unpredictable and so crazy, right? Maybe not unpredictable, kind of predictable after a while. You keep seeing red, right? But that's also what led to him beating Dominic Cruz, winning the bantamweight belt, and then losing 3 fights by knockout in a row, which is the last thing you want if you're a champion. However, it is interesting to note that the number 3 ranked Rob Font, the minus 125 favorite in Rob Font with the plus 105 comeback on Cody Garbrandt. And this is the odds that have opened up on the week, AJ. He's got more MMA experience than Cody Garbrandt, which is kind of a weird thing to say because we kind of grew up with Cody Garbrandt because of the Team Alpha Male versus TJ Dillashaw rivalry, because of just all the hype and the shine you get by being a champion or a title contender, right? Nonetheless, Rob Font is 18-4 in his MMA career, 8-3 in the UFC. So he actually has one more win than Cody Garbrandt does in the UFC and the same amount of losses. However, all losses are not equal, all wins are not equal, and I'll tell you what, by dethroning Dominic Cruz, getting a big win over Rafael Assunção, those are big wins, man. And Cody Garbrandt looked like a brand new fighter in his last fight. So let's break it down, AJ. Give me your thoughts on this matchup, man. How do you see this fight playing out? And listen, just give me that. What do you think?
Man, well, first shout out to Syke for giving us some questions, man. And just to answer that, I think that is like you said, the golden question. Because if Cody Garbrandt is able to maintain his emotions, I genuinely think he is one of the pound for pound best fighters in the UFC.
Yeah.
Now, could be a stretch, could be not. He's definitely top 5. We'll see. Because man, the switch he made after the Cody Garbrandt made after the Munoz fight to fight Assunção was like night and day, man. That was the Cody we wanted to see, the Cody that fought Dominic Cruz, the one that we wanted to see fight Dillashaw, but we didn't get that. So now fighting Rob Font, man, Rob Font is the epitome of a sleeper fighter. Yes. Like we don't know much about this dude. He's not too much media presence. He's fighting out of the New England cartel, so he's got hands. Like there's so much media around this dude, but nobody's giving him any attention. Nobody's saying Font, like nobody, I could go ask, 10 out of 10 strangers on the street. Nobody's going to be like, what Font? Like who, like typing? What do you mean? But that being said, this dude is like a scrapper, bro. This dude is such a good fighter. He arguably out-wrestled Ricky Simón. Now, not in the first round, but the second and third, there's a great argument that he out-wrestled him. Now, like I said, in the first, he absolutely got destroyed. But that being said, he also proved that he can drop bombs. And that's one of the biggest things, man. That Moraes fight, that Moraes KO knockout, who else have we seen done that to Moraes? I think it was Sanhagen.
A couple of people now, yeah.
A couple of people now. But in the past, when Moraes was, on top of the game, that's an old vet that he took out. So ultimately, at the end of the day, both fighters are very, very dangerous. What comes down to it is I think Font needs to get in his rhythm. If Font can fight his fight and not let Garbrandt take over like Garbrandt does, that's his style. He's going to take over and control the fight. If Font can prevent that, he's going to have a good night. But if not, man, it's going to be a fun fight for us to watch with Cody Garbrandt doing what he does best. What do you think?
Well, I'm with you, and I guess let me answer the question as well. Will Cody Garbrandt be able to stay out of a firefight? Against Rafael Assunção, yes, right? He did. He ultimately did. Against Rob Font, I don't think so. And here's the reason why, AJ. Cody Garbrandt against Rafael Assunção is kind of unique in the way that he can stalk you, right? He's just stalking you, cutting off the cage, right? But he's not throwing anything. He's just kind of in front of you, just watching. And you got to be careful against Cody Garbrandt, dude, because this dude is lightning fast. This dude is so fast. It's ridiculous, right? So I give the power advantage in this fight to Rob Font, but I give the speed advantage to Cody Garbrandt, even though Cody Garbrandt can knock your goddamn head off with a punch if he needs to, man. We saw the buzzer beater against Assunção, man. That was just right hand on the chin, just sleep, right? Ultimately, Rob Font, man, this is what I want you to do, AJ. I'm calling it right now. This is my prediction. I talked about it on the betting show, folks, so if this is redundant, I apologize, but I'm calling it right now. After the first round of this fight, AJ, I want you to take a look at Cody Garbrandt's right eye, and I want you to tell me whether it's going to be completely bruised and battered or if it's going to be flawlessly clean, because I'm predicting it's going to be bloody, bruised, battered, and because what's more annoying, AJ, in sparring, right? what's more annoying than the dude who just jabs your face off the entire fight? Like every time you throw, you're just getting popped, pop, 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 right? You don't want that. You don't want to deal with that. And how do you respond to that? Generally speaking, you say, I got to get this motherfucker back, bro. You know, well, yeah, move your head. That's probably the better idea. And Cody Garbrandt has a really, really good head movement. But Rob Font, man, he's got a reach advantage, a big one. He's got a 6-inch reach advantage, 71 inches to 65 for Cody Garbrandt. And if we talk about what does he do against every fighter? What did he do against a big win against Sergio Pettis, who is now, I mean, that win aged great because Sergio Pettis is the Bellator bantamweight champion now. What did he do in that fight? Just sitting there right in front of him, jab, 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 right there. And you're right, you got to get into that rhythm. But I'll tell you what, Rob Font has a very underrated chin, man. We've seen this dude get hit by just ridiculous shots and just, all right, and keep walking forward. Not, all right, and see red and start swinging for the fences, but just being composed and being like, okay, this dude's got that great boxing stance and all that, man. It's going to be a good one. AJ, last thing that I want to know, Cody Garbrandt, let me not disrespect the man. I feel like I'm not, but let me still just extra not disrespect the man. This dude is 31-1 as an amateur boxer, and that's actually how he got his nickname No Love, is because it was somebody like a family friend was all like, damn, you don't show those dudes no love when you fight them, right? That's Cody Garbrandt. And if he can fight a very calm, technical, composed fight like he did against Dominic Cruz, that's the fight that we keep, the performance we want to see emulated time and time again, dude could win this fight. But the other element that Rob Font has, right? Because Rob Font, generally speaking, likes to use his hands. He does have some kicks, but I'll tell you what, AJ, what do you know about Rob Font and how he mixes in his takedowns with his pressure? And as soon as he gets to that takedown, what does he do, generally speaking? He grabs onto your arm for the arm lock, man. And that's the element right there. Rob Font is a BJJ brown belt. He's a white Mongol in Muay Thai, which means almost nothing. It's like a very beginner, basic level of Muay Thai in terms of the ranking system. But that BJJ brown belt is going to be important because grappling is different than wrestling, and Cody Garbrandt is the NCAA Division II college wrestler at Newberry College, right? But nonetheless, man, that's the sneaky thing. Rob Font is on you, pressing you, and we've seen Cody Garbrandt is very, very, he'll be fine to go on the back foot and just fight off of his back foot. That's no problem for him, right? But Rob Font presses you, and then just like uses his momentum to knock you over, you know what I mean? And then gets on top of you, then grabs your back, then grabs the arm. So that's really the aspect right there that I think is going to come into play, because on the striking, it's very even, but it's indifferent. They have different strengths on the feet, right? Ultimately, man, give me a response on that, and then let's drop our picks because we're running out of time here.
Yeah, man, I agree with you 100% in that. And I actually think for that reason, Font is very sneaky. You don't even know until like go watch that third round of the Ricky Simone fight. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about, where this dude can get in the mix up and go up and down. Doesn't matter where this fight's taking place, and he'll hurt you. But this one, man, this one's a hard one for me to judge. This one's a coin toss. I genuinely think it's going to come down to who shows up that night. If No Love shows up, bro, it's going to be a fun fight and an early KO. But if Font can get in his rhythm and keep Garbrandt kind of frustrated and not necessarily maybe seeing red, but more so just off that rhythm, off that game like we were talking about earlier, I think Font's gonna get the dub. But personally, me, I'm going for a Garbrandt KO round 4. It's going to be an interesting. Who are you taking and why?
Listen, man, this is one of the toughest methodologies that I've had to think about, right? Because I'm like, Cody Garbrandt has a button, and that's the thing we know. He's been knocked out a lot recently. So you know when the button is there, you just got to tap it. You just got to hit it at the right time. One thing we know about Rob Font is this dude's been hit by everything and has never been stopped, never been knocked out in a fight, right? He's been submitted once in his career, never been knocked out in a fight. So for that reason, I think we get a fight of the night contender right here, and I'm going to go the other way, AJ. I'm going a TKO win for Rob Font, round 4. Come on, man. I think someone's got to go to sleep in this one, man. It would be a disservice if no one went to sleep. The last thing that I want to note for this one, AJ, is that I talked about Rafael Assunção, right? Rob Font, actually, that's his last loss, is to Rafael Assunção. He lost a unanimous decision, and Cody Garbrandt knocked the man out. So that's always something you got to take into consideration. But nonetheless, man, it's going to be a great, great fight, folks. So...